The Foundling's Journey. The emergency beacon cut through space like a dying scream. Commander Thylus of the Zephyrian research vessel Peaceful Dawn stared at the readings with growing concern. The signal came from a human colony ship, its hull cracked open like an egg, spilling debris and frozen bodies into the void. "Another attack," whispered Navigator Sayla, her silver skin shimmering with distress. The Zephyrians had been monitoring human expansion for decades, fascinated by their rapid spread across the galaxy. But lately, too many human ships were ending up as floating graveyards. Thylus ordered the salvage team to search for survivors, though hope was slim. The colony ship New Earth had been carrying 15,000 families to establish a new world. Now it was nothing but twisted metal and shattered dreams drifting in the darkness. "Commander," called Engineer Vortex over the communication system, "I'm detecting a weak life sign. Very weak. It's coming from the emergency section." They found him in a small survival pod, barely functioning on reserve power. A human infant, perhaps 8 months old, strapped into an emergency carrier. His tiny chest rose and fell in steady rhythm, somehow still breathing despite the chaos around him. Someone had wrapped him in a thermal blanket with a note written in basic galactic script. "His name is Alex," Sayla read aloud. "Please keep him safe. He is all we have left." Dr. Kuvan, the ship's medical officer, scanned the baby with her instruments. "Remarkable. Human physiology is more resilient than our databases suggested. He's malnourished but otherwise healthy." Thylus studied the sleeping child. Zephyrian regulations were clear about interfering with developing species, but this was different. This was an innocent life that would die without their help. "We cannot contact human authorities," he decided. "Their governments are in chaos, fighting each other instead of protecting their people. We will care for him ourselves." The Zephyrians converted a storage room into a nursery, installing human-compatible life support and temperature controls. They study human biology to learn proper care for an infant. Alex proved to be curious and energetic, crawling into ventilation shafts and exploring every corner of the ship. His constant activity both amused and exhausted his alien caregivers. "How does he move so quickly?" wondered Dr. Kuvan after retrieving Alex from the engine room for the 3rd time that day. Zephyrian children don't walk until they're 3 years old. As Alex grew, the differences became more apparent. At age 5, he fell down a maintenance shaft and broke his arm. Dr. Kuvan expected the injury to take weeks to heal, but Alex was climbing again within days, his bones knitting together with incredible speed. Commander Thylus became like a father to the boy, teaching him about science and the stars. Sayla showed him how to use computers and navigation systems. Dr. Kuvan educated him about different alien species and their cultures. Alex absorbed knowledge like a sponge, asking endless questions about everything he encountered. But there were puzzling aspects to Alex's development. At age 10, he began showing interest in the ship's defensive systems, studying tactical displays and combat protocols with an understanding that surprised even adult Zephyrians. His mind seemed naturally suited for strategy and warfare, concepts that were foreign to the peaceful Zephyrian nature. "It's like he has warrior instincts," Thylus told his crew during a private meeting. "He sees patterns in battle scenarios that take our computers significant time to calculate." By his teenage years, Alex had grown stronger than any Zephyrian, able to lift equipment that required multiple adults of their species. His reflexes were faster, his endurance greater. Sometimes, when he thought no one was watching, he would practice fighting movements that seemed to come from deep instinct rather than training. The Zephyrians began worrying about their adopted son's future. They had given him education and love, but they knew he needed to be with his own kind. The problem was finding them. Reports from human space grew worse each month. Entire colonies disappeared, refugee ships fled in all directions, and 3 separate human governments claimed authority while fighting each other. "Maybe they don't want me," Alex said quietly one evening, overhearing another failed attempt to contact human authorities. "That's not true," Thylas assured him gently. "Your people are simply dealing with difficult times. When the fighting stops, we'll find them." But privately, Thylas wondered if that day would ever come. Long-range sensors detected massive alien fleets moving through distant sectors, conquering everything in their path. The peaceful galaxy the Zephyrians had known was changing into something darker and more dangerous. Alex, now 18, had grown tall and strong with intelligent eyes and steady hands. He looked human but had been shaped by Zephyrian values and knowledge. One evening, as he helped repair a communication array, he asked the question that had troubled him for years. "Commander Thylas, what am I really? I don't feel fully human or fully Zephyrian." Thylas looked at the young man he had raised as his own son. "You are both and neither, Alex. You are something new. A bridge between two worlds." Alex nodded, but uncertainty remained in his eyes. He felt caught between species, belonging fully to neither. Soon, he feared, the galaxy would force him to choose which side of his nature would define him. That choice came sooner than expected. Warning alarms shrieked through the peaceful dawn as massive shapes emerged from hyperspace. 5 warships, dark and angular, covered in weapon ports and armor plating. The vessels belonged to the Krillian Empire, a militaristic species that had been conquering systems across the Outer Rim. "Zephyrian research vessel," a harsh voice crackled over communications. "You will surrender immediately or be destroyed." "This is Commander Thylas," he replied calmly. "We are on a peaceful scientific mission. We mean no harm." Cruel laughter echoed through the bridge. "Peaceful. Your weakness disgusts us. Prepare to be boarded." The Krillian ships surrounded the Zephyrian vessel like predators circling prey. Docking clamps slammed into the hull with violent force, making the entire ship shake. Alex watched in growing alarm as his peaceful family scrambled to understand what was happening. The airlock doors exploded inward, and Krillian soldiers poured onto the ship. They were massive reptilian creatures, nearly 8 feet tall with dark scales and burning red eyes. Their armor was black and spiked, designed to intimidate. Each carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. "Pathetic creatures," sneered the lead soldier, looking around the bridge with disgust. His gaze fell on Alex, and his eyes widened with interest. "But what is this? A human among the sheep?" Alex stepped forward instinctively, placing himself between the Krillians and his family. "Leave them alone. They've done nothing to you." The Krillian commander laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Spirit, I like that. General Varkas will be interested in you, human. Your species has a reputation as fighters, though we hear most of you are dead." "I won't go anywhere with you," Alex said firmly. "You will if you want your friends to live," the commander replied, gesturing to his soldiers. They raised their weapons toward the Zephyrian crew. Alex felt something burning in his chest, anger unlike anything he had ever experienced. The Zephyrians had taught him to solve problems through discussion and understanding. But looking at these creatures, he knew that violence was the only language they understood. "Fine," Alex said. "I'll come, but you let them go." The Krillian commander nodded. "The human shows wisdom. Take him." As soldiers moved toward Alex, he caught Commander Thylas's eye. His adoptive father looked heartbroken but proud. "Remember what we taught you, son. Remember who you choose to be." Alex was dragged from the bridge and thrown into a transport pod. Through the small window, he watched in horror as the Krillian ships opened fire on the peaceful dawn. The research vessel exploded in a ball of flame, taking with it the only family Alex had ever known. "No," he screamed, pounding against the walls of his prison. But it was too late. Commander Thylas, Sayla, Dr. Kuvan, and the entire crew were gone, murdered by creatures who saw kindness as weakness. Hours later, Alex found himself in a cell aboard the Krillian flagship. The walls were metal and stained with what looked like dried blood. The air smelled of fear and death. Through the bars, he could see other prisoners from different species, all looking broken and hopeless. Fresh meat, called one of the guards, a scared Krillian with missing teeth. "General Varkas wants to see the human." Alex was dragged through corridors lined with weapons and trophies taken from conquered worlds. The ship was a mobile fortress, built for war and destruction. Everything about it was designed to intimidate and break spirits. General Varkas sat on a throne made from the bones of some massive creature. He was larger than the other Krillians, with scars covering his face and cybernetic implants replacing parts of his body destroyed in battle. His red eyes studied Alex with cold intelligence. "So," Varkas said, his voice like grinding stone, "you are the human raised by the weak Zephyrians. How pathetic. Your warrior ancestors would be ashamed." "My family wasn't weak," Alex replied, fighting to keep his voice steady. "They were better than you'll ever be." Varkas laughed. "Better? They died like insects, just as your entire species is dying across the galaxy. We have conquered 47 human colonies in the past year alone. Your people fight bravely but separately. No unity, no coordination. Easy prey." The general leaned forward. "But you interest me, human. Raised by pacifists, yet I see fire in your eyes. Tell me about Zephyrian defensive capabilities, their hidden bases, their weaknesses." "I'll never tell you anything," Alex said. Varkas nodded to his guards. "We shall see. Take him to the conditioning chambers. Break him slowly. I want him to understand that his soft upbringing was a lie. Violence is the only truth in this universe." The torture began immediately. The Krillians were experts at causing pain without permanent damage. They wanted information, but more than that, they wanted to break Alex's spirit. They mocked his Zephyrian upbringing, calling him weak and soft. For days, Alex endured their cruelty. They burned him with energy weapons, beat him with metal clubs, and subjected him to devices designed to cause maximum agony. Through it all, he refused to speak, but something was changing inside him. The gentle philosophy his Zephyrian family had taught him was being burned away by pain and rage. On the 5th day, when a guard grew careless and came too close to the cell, Alex moved without thinking. His hand shot out, grabbed the Krillian by the throat, and twisted with strength he didn't know he possessed. The guard's neck snapped with a wet crack. Alex stared at the body in shock. He had killed without hesitation, without remorse. The gentle boy raised by peaceful aliens was gone, replaced by something harder and more dangerous. Using the dead guard's access card, Alex escaped his cell and began moving through the ship. Every Krillian he encountered died quickly and quietly. His hands seemed to know exactly where to strike, how to kill efficiently and silently. Within 2 hours, Alex had fought his way to the escape pod bay. Alarms blared throughout the ship as the Krillians discovered their dead. Alex sealed himself into a small fighter craft and launched into space just as enemy soldiers burst into the bay. As he flew away from the flagship, Alex looked back at the massive warship that had destroyed his family and tortured him for days. Something cold and calculating settled into his mind, something that felt disturbingly natural. The scared boy who had begged for his family's lives was dead. In his place sat a predator who understood, perhaps for the first time, what it truly meant to be human. Part 2. The Warrior's Revenge. Alex drifted in the stolen fighter for 6 days before the fuel ran out. His emergency beacon brought salvation in the form of a battle-scarred military cruiser called the Iron Resolve. The vessel was part of the human Colonial Defense Force, one of the 3 factions fighting for control of human space. Well, said the ship's commander as Alex was brought aboard. "What do we have here?" Admiral Sarah Chen was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much war. Her crew was entirely human, battle-hardened veterans who had been fighting aliens and pirates for years. They all carried weapons and watched Alex with professional suspicion. Found him floating in Krillian space, reported Lieutenant Torres, the ship's tactical officer. Claims he escaped from General Varkas himself. Alex told them his story, the Zephyrian family, the attack, his escape. The crew listened in silence, some shaking their heads in disbelief. Raised by aliens, Admiral Chen said slowly, "No wonder you look confused, son. You don't know the first thing about being human, do you?" "I know enough," Alex replied quietly, remembering how easily he had killed the Krillian guards. Chen pulled out a combat knife and tossed it to Alex. "Show me." Alex caught the blade instinctively. Something in his body knew how to hold it, how to balance it. Without thinking, he spun it in his hand and brought the point to rest inches from Chen's throat. The movement was fluid, natural, deadly. The crew went silent. Several hands moved toward weapons. Chen smiled slowly. "Interesting. Your alien family may have raised you soft, but something in your blood knows how to fight. Maybe there's hope for you yet." Over the following weeks, Alex learned about the reality of human space. The Iron Resolve was part of a fleet trying to protect colonial worlds from Krillian expansion. 3 human governments claimed authority, but they spent more time fighting each other than defending their people. "Look at this," Chen said one evening, showing Alex a star map covered in red zones. "These are human worlds that went dark in the last 6 months. Krillians, pirates, civil war. Something's eating us alive out here." Alex studied the map with growing horror. Hundreds of colonies, billions of people, all gone or under attack. What about Earth? The central government. 3 central governments now, explained Lieutenant Torres. The Earth Federation, Colonial Alliance, and Free Worlds Union. They issue orders from their safe sectors while we do the dying out here. Admiral Chen began training Alex in the skills he would need to survive. How to use different weapons, pilot various spacecraft, read enemy intentions, think tactically. But most importantly, she taught him how to think like a soldier. "Your alien family taught you to solve problems with discussion," Chen said during a training session. "That works when everyone's reasonable, but some creatures only understand force. The Krillians, for example." Alex proved to be an exceptional student. His Zephyrian education gave him advantages other soldiers lacked. He could repair complex systems, understand alien technology, and plan operations with scientific precision. But his human instincts provided the deadly edge needed in combat. During his first real mission, Alex helped defend a mining colony from Krillian raiders. The plan was to hold the orbital defense platforms until reinforcements arrived. But everything went wrong when the Krillians used new weapons that overloaded the station's shields. Their boarding platform 7, Torres reported as explosions rocked the command center. "We're losing the outer perimeter." Alex studied the tactical display, seeing patterns the others missed. "Admiral, if we reroute power from the mining lasers to the remaining platforms, we can create a crossfire zone. The Krillians will be caught in a kill box." "That's never been tried before," Chen said. "The Zephyrians taught me to think in 3 dimensions." Alex explained. "Energy flows, field interactions. It will work." Chen trusted his judgment. The modified defense grid caught the Krillian assault force by surprise, destroying half their ships before they could react. The surviving raiders retreated, their first defeat in months. "Not bad, kid," Chen said later as they treated their wounds. "You're starting to think like a human soldier." But Alex felt the weight of each life he had taken. The Zephyrians had taught him that all consciousness was precious. Now he was ending lives regularly, and part of him was beginning to find satisfaction in it. That realization scared him more than any enemy. Months passed, and Alex's reputation grew throughout the fleet. He developed new tactics that combined Zephyrian scientific knowledge with human unpredictability. He could hack Krillian computer systems while engaging in close combat. He could repair damaged ships while planning space battles. "You're not like other humans," observed Dr. Martinez, the ship's medical officer. "You think differently, fight differently." "I was raised differently," Alex replied. "Maybe that's what humanity needs," she said. "Someone who can see beyond our usual limitations." Alex's personal war intensified when intelligence reports brought disturbing news. General Varkas was assembling something massive, a fleet designed to crush multiple civilizations simultaneously. The target list included not just human colonies but dozens of other species, including the few remaining Zephyrian settlements. "He's planning something unprecedented," Admiral Chen said, studying intercepted communications. "This isn't just conquest anymore. This is genocide on a galactic scale." Alex felt that familiar cold anger settle in his chest. "We have to stop him." "We?" Chen laughed grimly. "Son, we're one fleet among hundreds. Varkas has 3,000 ships under his command. Then we get more ships, more allies, more weapons," Alex said. "The Krillians won't stop with a few colonies. They'll keep conquering until there's nothing left. Someone has to make a stand." Chen studied the young man she had trained from a confused refugee into a skilled warrior. "You know this is probably suicide, right? Going after Varkas directly." "Probably," Alex agreed. "But if we don't try, everyone dies anyway. At least this way, we die fighting." The Admiral nodded slowly. "All right, Alex, you want to play general. Show me. How do you build an alliance when nobody trusts anybody else?" Alex spent weeks studying diplomatic protocols, species psychology, and military organization. His Zephyrian education had taught him about different alien cultures and their motivations. His human instincts told him how to inspire people to fight impossible odds. He began by uniting the three human factions. Using his unique background, he served as a bridge between the militaristic Colonial Defense Force, the diplomatic Earth Federation, and the independent Free Worlds Union. His mixed upbringing let him speak to each group in their own language. "We're not fighting for territory or politics," Alex told the Joint Council. "We're fighting for survival. The Krillians see weakness in our division. Unity is our only advantage." Next, he reached out to alien species that had also suffered under Krillian expansion. The peaceful Zephyrian survivors, the warrior poet Valdari, the technological Nexari, and dozens of smaller civilizations. Each had reasons to hate the Krillian Empire, but none had the strength to resist alone. "The Krillians expect us to fight separately," Alex explained the growing alliance. "They've conquered hundreds of worlds using that assumption. But what if we didn't? What if we coordinated our efforts across multiple systems simultaneously?" The alliance grew slowly, built on shared desperation and Alex's unique ability to communicate across species barriers. He understood Zephyrian logic, human emotion, Valdari honor codes, and Nexari efficiency protocols. More importantly, he understood how to combine their different strengths into something greater than the sum of its parts. When General Varkas finally launched his massive offensive, he expected to face scattered, uncoordinated resistance. Instead, he encountered something unprecedented. A truly unified multi-species defense force, using hybrid tactics that combined the best elements of a dozen different military traditions. The first battle took place at the Kepler Junction, a strategic star system that controlled access to the galaxy's core worlds. Varkas brought 800 ships, expecting easy victory against isolated human colonies. He found 2,000 allied vessels waiting for him. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Zephyrian shield technology protected human assault ships. Valdari warriors used Nexari teleportation devices to board enemy vessels. Human pilots flew alien fighters with modifications that shouldn't have been possible. At the center of it all was Alex, commanding from the bridge of the Iron Resolve. He was everywhere at once, coordinating attacks across dozens of star systems, adapting to enemy tactics in real time, always thinking 3 moves ahead. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Torres, "the Krillians are retreating from the Vega system. They've lost nearly half their fleet." "And the Centauri front?" Alex asked. Admiral Chen reports complete victory. The Krillian Fourth Fleet has been destroyed. For the first time in decades, the Krillian Empire was being pushed back. Planet after planet was liberated, refugee populations returned to their homes, and hope began to spread through the galaxy. But General Varkas was not finished. Gathering his remaining forces, he launched one final desperate assault on Earth itself. If he could destroy the human homeworld, the Alliance would shatter, and the Krillian Empire could rebuild. The final battle took place in Earth's solar system, among the orbital stations and asteroid mining facilities that surrounded humanity's birthworld. Varkas brought his personal fleet, 500 of the Krillian Empire's most powerful warships. Alex was waiting for him. The battle raged for 3 days. Ships fought among Saturn's rings, used Jupiter's moons for cover, and died in the cold void between worlds. The Alliance fleet, though outnumbered, fought with desperate courage and innovative tactics that confused and frustrated the Krillian commanders. On the 3rd day, as both fleets battered each other to pieces, Alex made his final move. Taking a small strike force, he launched a direct assault on Varkas's flagship, the massive dreadnought Death's Glory. The boarding action was brutal and personal. Alex fought his way through corridors he remembered from his captivity, killing Krillian soldiers with efficient brutality. Everything the Zephyrians had taught him about compassion and understanding was burned away by rage and purpose. He found General Varkas on the bridge, surrounded by his personal guard. The Krillian commander looked older, scared by recent defeats, but his red eyes still burned with hatred. "The human pet Eterns," Varkas sneered. "Come to die where your soft alien family died. I've come to finish what you started," Alex replied, raising his weapon. The fight was savage and brief. Varkas was strong and experienced, but Alex fought with the combined knowledge of 2 species and the desperate fury of someone who had lost everything. When it ended, the Krillian general lay dead, and Alex stood over his body, breathing hard. With their leader dead and their fleet shattered, the remaining Krillians surrendered. The war was over, but victory had come at a terrible cost. The Alliance fleet was nearly destroyed, billions were dead, and entire star systems lay in ruins. Alex, wounded and exhausted, stood on the bridge of the Iron Resolve as Earth's blue marble filled the view screen. He had saved his species and dozens of others, but he felt no satisfaction. The gentle boy raised by loving aliens was gone forever, replaced by something harder and more necessary. "You did it, son," Admiral Chen said, her voice filled with pride and sorrow. "The galaxy is safe." Alex nodded, but his eyes remained distant. He had become the bridge between species that Commander Thylas had envisioned, but the price had been his own humanity. He was no longer fully human or Zephyrian, but something new. The Guardian forged in war, shaped by loss, and dedicated to ensuring that the galaxy would never again face such darkness. In the years that followed, Alex would become a legend, the last child of 2 worlds who united the galaxy against extinction. But in that moment, standing before Earth's blue horizon, he was simply a young man mourning the family that had made him who he was, and the innocence he had sacrificed to save the stars.